Hi, my name is Martin, and this afternoon we're going to try building a castle out of lollies, a frozen castle. So we're going to melt some lollies and see what we can do. We've got some hard rock candies, they're blue. So we're going to open those and we're going to melt them. And we also bought some crystal type lollies that are odd lollies, and we're going to open those and try to melt those and see which one we get the best result with. Unwrap all the lollies so we can crush them. If you crush them, it's probably easier to melt, and they're probably going to be melting more evenly. You need quite a few. Always depends on the size of your castle that you want to build. So I think we'll be using everything we've got, which is probably around 50 lollies like this. And we've got a small bag of this here. I think it was about 100 grams.
Papa, I think we should get another packet of these. Because they're so young.
You like them? Well, that's good.
So candies?
We have about 100 grams.
How many can I have of it?
You can taste one or two.
Okay. These are so yum. They are Arctic and minty.
They're minty, aren't they?
Yeah.
I might have one too.
Me too.
You already have one.
But I feel like having another one.
Nah, let's use them for the castle.
Oh. That's disappointing.
You're gonna taste the rock candy. You'll be okay.
Okay.
Alright, there you go. That's all pile of lollies. So what we're going to do now is we're going to crush them. Okay. We're going to use some wax paper to melt the lollies. So I think it's best if you put your wax paper the size of your tray. So you also need to make sure that the wax side on your paper is showing up so the lollies don't stick. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take the lollies and we're going to put them on the paper. We're going to try to make a little shape with them, maybe a bit of a triangle shape, and that might help us a little bit to shape them when we put the lollies together. Let's see how we go. So I'm trying to make 4 walls because we'll need we'll make 4 walls and stick the walls together. I'll take the big ones out because I don't think they'll melt very well. Okay, I won't put them too close because I don't want them to mix together. So I might have to do 2 batches of lollies melting. So we'll start with this now. That looks pretty good. I'll leave them like this. Okay, so put them in the oven. The oven needs to be warm, but not too warm. If you put it too warm, you're going to burn your lollies. So you don't want to do this. So I'm going to put the oven at 200 Celsius, and I'm going to keep an eye on them. I'm expecting that it's going to take about 10 minutes to melt, but it's good to have a look to make sure nothing burns. So when it starts bubbling, it starts to burn, and then you can't really do anything with this. Pause. Yep. Stop. That's the papier.
Okay.
So put the lollies in the oven. Put them about probably in the middle. The oven, that should do. Close the door. Turn on the oven. Just regular settings should be okay. I said 200 Fahrenheit before, 200 Celsius before, but I think it's a bit too high, so I'm gonna start at 160, 170. Okay, alright, the lollies have been here for about 4 or 5 minutes now, so you can have a quick look. Nah, they're not melting yet, so we're just going to close the oven and wait a bit longer. Yeah, lollies have been in for about 6 minutes now, so you can see they're starting to melt, so keep a good eye on them now. Lollies are starting to bubble a bit, so it's a bit of a worry, so I'm going to take them out of the oven and see if I can save them. Save the lollies! Okay, so I'm going to try to melt the lollies a little bit, just to break them, so I can keep them together. I might still be able to show you how to make the castle. Just how much more melting they need to do. So that was my first try for this, so it hasn't worked like I wanted, but just bear in mind to put the oven a bit lower when you try this. Okay, the lollies are like this now. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to shape them a little bit. So I'm going to use a spatula like this. You have to be quite fast to do it, otherwise the lollies are going to harden up and you won't be able to shape them anymore.
Okay, ready, Papa.
Sorry, the spatula's not really working, so I'm gonna try something else. This is a hard plastic knife. It's getting quite hot, getting cold really quickly. Yep, so you have to be really fast when they're melting. It's quite easy to leave them too long to cool down. Let me stop filming. I put the lollies back in now, and hopefully they melt again a bit, or they go soft, so we can shape them. Okay, I've moved the lollies on the table. Now I'm going to use a harder spoon. No, that's really not working. Okay, I'll put them back in. Okay, so I've put the lollies back in, and now they've melted a bit too much, so they're going to be quite hard to shape. Get a bit sticky. Okay. Alright, so I think the shape that you put them in the oven is really important. So now we're going to leave them to cool down and see if we can take them off the paper so we can stick them together, see what we can do. Okay, I think the melted lollies are probably hard enough now, so we're going to try to take them off. So it should be fairly easy. So if you got a hard spatula like this, you slide it underneath, it should break quite nicely, come off quite nicely. Still a bit hot. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to put them together like this, try to make them stand, so I might need to think of something to make them stand up and stick. So I'm going to try another method now to try to melt out lollies. The first one wasn't too successful, so I've put with some water in it, and we're going to boil the water. And I'm going to put some lollies in here, and we're going to keep an eye on them and try to melt them. Okay, so I've got some lollies here, and I'll try to melt them, and then we'll try to make another shape like these ones, so we can stick them together and have 4 walls. So let's see how we do. Yeah, we are doing a lot of stuff. So now the water is melting, water is boiling, sorry. And I can see the lollies are melting a little bit. So I'll just turn off the camera because it's quite hard to do the two things at the same time. Lollies are not melting very well. Just like this. It's melting but not very fast. I'm worried they're gonna stay too hot, so I'll put a lid on it. See if they're melting a bit faster.
Hey.
Alright, my experiment with the water melting hasn't worked very well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the lollies and put them here on my plate. And with this, if it's sticky enough, I should be able to hold my walls together. So there you go, I'll just get my walls now. So what we'll do is we'll put the walls together now. So if they're like this, there's a chance that, whoops, that just broke one. This is really not working like I wanted to. That's a complete fail. And that hasn't worked very well at all.
I think you will do it, Papa.
Alright. I'll try to melt those lollies that didn't work before and see if we can salvage them, melt them again. So I put no water in there, let's put straight lolly into the pan. I've turned the pan to about medium and see if these melt nicely. Alright, so the lollies are melting now. So these are the ones that I tried to use before and didn't work very well. So melting nicely. So I'll try to pour them on a baking sheet of paper and see if they melt or if we can shape them. They're pretty liquid now. There's still some lumps in it. I'm just going to wait for these to break. You can see it's green now. I think that's turned green because it was burning before when I was when I put them in the oven. So that looks pretty good now. So I'm going to take them to the table and try to shape them. Alright, so I'm put the lollies now on my baking sheet. Let's try to make some kind of little shape. And see, my lollies have burnt before, so that's why they're a bit green. It's the sugar that was burning. So it's melted nicely though, so that's a good thing. So I'll try to make them all the same size. Put more on this one here. Put more on this one. It'll be quite fast, because when it stop being liquid, it's really hard to pour. So I'll try to shape them again. Must be a better way to do this. Got my big spatula here. It's already starting to be hard. So I guess if you got some mold, probably a bit easier to do. Just trying to get them in some kind of triangle shape. Nah, that's not really working. Alright, I think we'll see what we can do with this. Do where they are, so we can stick them together. Okay, our first experiment with the lollies didn't really work, so now we're gonna try those rock crystal, those rock blue crystal. We'll try to melt those and see how we go. So I'll put them here. I have to make a small castle now. Do you want to taste them? Just have a little bit.
How many?
And how many? 2 or 3, 4, 5? They're quite small. So I don't know how many I'll need, so I'll put quite a few, but I'll keep them. Keep some. Try to divide them in 4 equal parts, and again I'll try to shape them a little bit in some kind of triangle. Try to make them all the same size. They good?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I think I might just pour a bit more into my hair.
You want a bit more? Okay. So we got some looking, good looking triangle. If you call that good looking. So I'll put a bit more on this one here, and a bit more on this one. Right. So there we go. This one a bit wider, a bit higher, a bit wider at the bottom, a bit higher at the top. Okay, alright, we've got all 4 triangles, so I'm going to try to melt those now and see how we go. Okay, so these are my rock candies. Now they're melting quite nicely, so hopefully we can use those and make some kind of castle with them. So I'll keep an eye on them so they don't burn. Alright, so here's the next lot of lollies. I think we've burned those as well. They're pretty melted now. We've got some nice triangle for them, for some of them. But I think mostly it's just a mess.